Hey everybody, this is Dimensions of the Supernatural. I'm Maureen Grudzinski. I'm here with my great co-host, Anthony Simonelli.
How you doing?
So we are here tonight with a very special guest. His name is Paugh Shadow, otherwise known as Shadow. Shadow has a great background. He has done almost everything, and we find him to be extremely brilliant. He is an actor. He has done almost everything. He has filmed. He has done DJ work. He also has 2 degrees, one in marine biology, one in chemistry. We will not be testing him tonight, and he better not test us as well, because I don't know jack shit. So
Yeah, I know those two things.
Let's bring him on the show with us, and we will ask him some questions, find out more about him, and you guys can ask as many questions as you'd like. Here he is, Shadow.
Hey,
Greetings and salutations.
Thank you,
how
sir.
you doing?
How you doing?
How
Hey,
you doing? Hey,
forget about it.
hey, forget about it. Bada bing, bada boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we know that you don't speak like that because you're from Washington, D.C. originally, but then you did move to New York. So how do you speak?
Like this.
Like-
As regular as possible.
Yeah. So you started off in D.C., you moved to New York City way later, but you did start in acting at the age of 7, correct?
Yeah, and little plays and stuff in middle elementary school and middle school, stuff like that. But I liked it a lot. I got away from it for a while, but then after 9/11, I got back into acting. I happened to be wandering the streets of New York and seeing somebody filming something, and I was like, "Oh, let me see what they're doing." And so I talked to them, and next thing I know, they pulled me in because I was a big guy, and they needed a big guy, and that's it. And then I just got bit by the acting bug again, and then just kept doing it since then. So yeah, I've been working on that, and I'm doing a lot of projects, and I'm helping produce and write and make my own films, as well as helping other people by acting in their films.
So how tall are you?
6'6" on a good day.
Should you be taller or shorter on a good day?
Depends on who comes up and stands next to me. I have had people say, "I'm 6'6", and I'm like, I don't think so. But and then somebody coming up to me and telling me they're 6'8", and I'm taller than them, and I'm like, I know that's not true. You can't be 6'8" because that makes me 6'9", and I know I'm not that tall. I'm 6'6". I don't need to be any taller. It's not an easy way of living when you're that tall in the first place.
Don't worry, I'll never come up to you and say I'm 6'6" or 6'9". You know, I'm 5'8", so I probably come up to like your belly button or something like that, huh?
Yeah, 5'8" a good height because no one asks you to go reach for something usually.
Yeah.
I'm only 5'2". No one asked me for anything.
Oh, that's.
Hey, can you get that on the bottom shelf? Are you right there? Can you get that for me?
Listen, don't worry about it. So you pursued double degrees in marine biology and chemistry?
Yeah. They kind of go hand in hand. So it wasn't like I went too far out of my way to get both of them. But yeah, I love marine biology. I've worked with whales and dolphins in Hawaii.
Awesome.
I just actually was in Mexico and dealt with manatees down there.
I love Mexico.
Mexico is nice. I didn't realize how cool it was until actually all the traveling I've done. This is the first time I've ever been to Mexico. So
really,
yes, a lot of people were saying, "Dude, that doesn't make any sense. You've been around the world. You've been to 52 different countries. Your 53rd country is Mexico, and you live." I said, "Don't ask me why. I just, sometimes things don't make sense. You just do what comes around in due
what
time."
part were you in?
I was in Cancun for a couple minutes, and then Tulum, like most of my time, and then went back and forth to a couple other towns that I'm not 100% sure the names of because of looking at. I like looking at temples. I'm a big time person I really like ancient history and stuff like that. So I went to some of the pyramids and walked around there and took some great pictures. And then I went to some cenotes I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Pronunciation.
And that was mystical. Those are the things where I think people talk about, like the looking for the fountain of youth.
Mm-hmm.
And the pictures I took there aren't going to do it any justice. I mean, if you can go down there and go into these cenotes and just, oh wow, it had bats and it had trees growing from inside this thing out of the hole that was there. It was just
Wow.
really cool. And the water's so blue, and just a great experience. I loved it. I enjoyed myself.
They
I would
actually,
I would go down there just for investigations, see the
yeah,
spirits and the
that would be a great place to
paranormal stuff.
go.
Oh man, imagine the stuff that we could get from there,
Oh, just
from
from the temples
spirits.
alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
all the history.
they showed us the pits where they like sacrificed the people. I was like, "Ooh, wow."
Wow.
And they showed how that the temple would be red because they would like use the blood of animals to make the stairs red. I was like, man, there's a lot of history here. Definitely a
yeah.
lot. I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
at nighttime by myself. I'm a big guy and I'm, pretty sure of myself, but nah, I'll pass on that by myself.
That that's the kind of stuff I would love. Just stay there at night, pitch a tent, and hang out. You know.
Yeah, but there's
And
jaguars down there, man. I'm not playing with those.
yeah, I know.
Everything,
I'd be more afraid of the insects down there. You know, those big spiders and all those big insects down there that could
Yeah,
kill you.
I'm a coward to those things. Anything that looks poisonous, I'm like, pass. Nope. Somebody else.
everything, everything that they do there is for a particular reason. Like all the all the temples and pyramids have 365 blocks for the 365 days. They have their gateway to the city set up so that there's a circle or a square or something, and the sunlight comes through at a certain time. Everything was for a reason. They were brilliant, brilliant people.
Yeah, it definitely shows that there was a lot of knowledge that even now some people don't carry that just naturally. You have to go research that. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a shallow gene pool.
somebody's asking a question. Am I supposed to just
Oh,
answer?
David is my partner. It says, "What's up, guys? Hey, Paugh Shadow, what upcoming movies are you doing?"
I did a movie called Terra Incognita, which is a pirate movie from the 16th century. I think that was the 16th century, dealing with the slave trade that was going from Ireland into um, Africa. And I play a very mean, nasty individual. And you got to see it. I mean, I know people like think that we just promote things. No, if I didn't do a thing that I thought was good, I won't promote it. I'll let somebody else do that. But I mean, it looks so realistic. My beard, I grew it all out. I grew my hair out. My hands were really, really roughed up because I did a film called The Omicron Killer, where I was going through a bathroom door, and they didn't make it. It was not Hollywood, style a door. So I really had to go through this thing, and I cut my hands up doing it. And then I had to film in Terra Incognita like at the same time. So I was doing two films at the same time. So my hands are already messed up. And the director's like, "Oh, your hands look great." I'm like, "Oh, I'm glad, because that's the real deal. It's not makeup." And he's like, "Oh my God," so he was really happy. But he was like, "But dude, you don't really have to do that for this film." I said, "That's all right. I like doing my own stunts. So sometimes they get hurt, but it's part of the process."
Yeah.
The Omicron Killer. I seen the coming attractions to that. That looked interesting.
I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
so.
that it really does. It's like that's what you like one of the things you want to promote tonight too. So
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if we can,
yeah,
it's
of
a
course.
sequel to the COVID Killer. Unfortunately, the COVID Killer was a very low budget film because it was during COVID. We didn't have many. We didn't have any known actors. Just me. I'm not that known. I mean, some people know me from the TV show Power and Gotham and John Wick. Um, and a few other shows I've been in for Marvel, but there was no other person that was known in that, and it was really low budget, and it shows, but people took it a little too far of like bashing it. It's like it also has a very interesting plot because it had 3 serial killers in it, and the 2 serial killers were twins, and the other serial killer was the copycat, which was my character, which becomes the Omicron killer in the new movie. And there's still ties to the COVID killer, the original killer, in the second film. But you got to see it. But there was a lot of twists, and if you pay attention, you'll see these twists, and you'll understand that it was more about the storyline than the actual, if the acting was good or if the music was good. It was just to get us started. I mean, we went worldwide, and especially in India, they love that film. I mean, we blew up in India. I mean, that got us the green light for the Omicron killer, so we're pretty happy with that.
It's awesome. I mean, you play serial killer, so you're a big guy. You play serial killer. That's right there. That's it's pretty cool. And you said you went to a door and you hurt your hand and stuff. So, that's pretty.
It was more realistic. I mean, we have Bai Ling in there, and she was great as she plays the nurse in this film, and her everything was more realistic. Like it felt real, not like we're acting. It just felt like it was like almost like this was a real situation. It just felt more genuine. And then we have Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp and other films.
Okay.
And then we have Lynn Lowry, who is an absolute dear, and I love her to death. But I knew Felissa and Bai Ling for years. I've known them for over 10 years. So it was nice to be able to just ask them, hey, would you like to be part of this? And they jumped on it. Once they saw the original film, they're like, yeah, definitely. So,
awesome.
And then we had a bigger budget. So it's going to, I mean, we have Lucasfilms is helping us with some of the.
Lucasfilms, okay.
Yeah, it's helping us with the, what do you call it? Special effects.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a guy who's done 34 films in editing in Hollywood. He's attached to our editing, so a lot of good attachments to this that I think makes us above and beyond the original film. So if you see the original film and you didn't like it, don't let that stop you from watching the second one. That second one's going to blow you away.
Where can I see them on? Where are they on? Anything that I could be able to see them on besides YouTube?
The copycat, I mean the COVID killer is on everything but Netflix right now, and probably in a couple of years, especially once Omicron Killer comes out, if it does well, Netflix will probably pick up COVID Killer as well. But we're supposed to be going into theaters and do streaming after the theaters with this film, so we're excited about that. A lot of horror movies, especially indie films, are being picked up and being put into theaters, and we feel very strong about this film being very successful. Come and support us. Especially if you want to see something new. Everybody says, I want to see something new. I want to see something new. This old, all this remakes and everything else. And then we put it out there and then people don't come. It's like, so you say you want to see something new. The only way they're going to keep producing new stuff is if you actually come see it.
Yeah, like Rob Zombie. I like his movies and stuff, but he's remaking some of the old stuff, and Friday, was it Friday the 13th that he did? Was it Friday the 13th? Halloween.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of them. I always get those guys mixed up, Freddy and Jason and Michael. They all wear masks, but he's remaking them. He's making them good, but like you said, I want to see some of these stuff that something new.
I want a new original story. I want something I haven't seen before. So as much as possible,
like something like horror. I've been watching horror since I was a little kid. When I was a kid, I started with Frankenstein and Dracula. All those black and white ones back in the '60s and stuff. But the stuff that now is more. Back then, what I liked about the movies back then, so I still do, they leave it to your imagination. Nowadays, is all this blood and gore. Back then, they left it to your imagination. Look at in Psycho, the the blood going down the drain. That was like back then was like wow, they're actually showing the blood, and that was like back in 1962. But yeah, I like Spence movie. The one movie I still say I still like it. Remember The Strangers, where the
long time ago.
That was one of the best movies I've
I
seen.
like that because could happen.
It could happen. It's psychological.
That's why I like that.
That's what we feel about the Omicron killer. I mean, it's something that a scenario that was imaginary but could have happened during what actually happened, which was our COVID situation. And we're not political, but people were like, "Oh, you guys are being political." I was like, "No, we really aren't." If you see something in there and you become triggered by it, it wasn't because we meant to do that. We really did. I mean, there might be one thing where one of the guys who was in the film, the original film, which we don't have him in the film for that reason. But as a whole, we weren't going political, and we don't want anybody thinking we were. The second one, the Omicron killer, absolutely not political at all. It's just something that possibly could have happened. Scary as hell, because it's like, I'm more scared of something that might really happen than something that's imaginary. That, it's like, oh, come on, that's not going to happen. But I do also like those old films that, like you said, I don't like when somebody tells me the whole story. You don't have to hold my hand. Let my imagination run wild. Let me think what might have happened after, when like Jason got, in the water, and then he pulls the girl out of the boat, and then you don't know what happened. Those things are, that was what made that film, which was a corny film, but it made it a classic because let you think, let your imagination run wild. And I think my imagination is more scary than somebody telling me what to be scared of.
Yeah. That makes. I think those make good movies. I'm definitely gonna check out those two movies. Now, those are on my checklist because I love horror movies. I love all that stuff. Serial killer movies and everything. Like the real serial killers. They do their biographies, or they do a movie about them, and it's like, wow, that really happened.
I mean, that's
like
one of the
like Ed Gear. Look at Ed Gear. What he did sprung into other movies. The Silence of the Lamb. With the eating, and what's his name? There was a character in Silence of the Lamb, Wild Bill or something.
Right.
And he was putting on he was making the women heavier. So when then he could kill them, and so he could use their skin to use as clothes and stuff like that. That's what Ed Gear was doing. And Chainsaw Massacre, another thing with the face. The other movies went from the serial killer, but I like when something real or it did happen, So like I said, those movies sound very good.
Well, that's like the Omicron killer is based off some real events as well. Not the killings, but some other things, not just not the Omicron or the COVID, but other things that were, happening, because I fell down some steps when I was trying to finally go out, when they let us go out and walk around again. And the first day I go out, the steps were not cleaned, and you didn't see the slime that was there. And I slipped down 5 steps, and I'm the only person who can beat myself up. I tore, partially tore a tendon, and I had to have it ripped the rest of the way and then reattached.
Wow.
And so some of the scenes you see in Omicron actually happened to me on my recovery and going through the surgery and everything and being in the hospital. So some of this is real. I mean, it's like, that we took it and became, took a real life situation and implemented into a fantasy scenario.
That's awesome.
That's horrible.
So, are there any other questions or anything?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
some time.
by the way, one of my favorite films is The Exorcist.
Same.
I know a lot of people say that, but that scared the living bejeebus out of me when I was a kid. My dad took me to see all kinds of scary films. Not the best father in the world. When it comes to good common sense, I saw Alien when I was a kid. I saw The Shining, which I know a lot of people do not like Stanley Kubrick's version, but I liked it a lot because again, something that scared the living crap out of me when I was a kid. So.
Well, they had the remake on that. Not the remake, but they had the one that was more towards the book. It was like a mini series.
Yeah.
And that was more towards the book. At the end, it was a totally different ending, also.
Right.
So
right.
that was interesting.
But I do love like Stanley Kubrick's version. I love too. I mean, you can like both versions. You don't have to say only one is the best.
Of course.
I mean, you can if you feel that way. I mean, you're allowed to feel that too. Oh, David, I'm sorry. The Omicron Killer is one film that I'm doing. The other one was Terra Incognita, which is a pirate movie. Omicron is a suspense thriller horror movie. What else am I working on? We got a couple other horror movies that we're going to start, and I'm looking to produce a sci-fi anime film with this guy Brad in California. If he ever gets back in touch with me and we get the funding, I think this is going to be an Academy Award winning film, which I mean, I know I'm tooting my own horn on that, but I really do feel that film is going to be amazing if it gets done. But you never know. Some things that should be done don't get done. It's unfortunate.
Well, we just finished a short called The Secret Mechanic, and we were wondering if you'd maybe be interested in doing a feature film with us.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get the money together, I'm game for anything.
Well, we have someone who's interested in funding the project. We're in the process of writing 10 feature films right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we've already started the first one. And we have ideas just flowing constantly, and we're in the process of working with several directors, and we have a couple of different people that are interested in being executive producers for us.
Oh, that's the beginning. Once you get the money, everything else becomes easier. The money is the hardest part. But once you have the funding, I've never seen a film not get done once it really had the funding. That's the hardest part, like I said, to get started with that. And then you can get your actors. I can get you so many actors. There's so many people I love working with that as long as you guys already have the funding for it, you just have to ask them, and they're down for it because they love the work, and they don't phone it in, and you get quality out of them. And that's what's so important.
We have a couple that you've already mentioned. So if you'd like to work with the same people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I don't work with many people that I go, no, I don't want to work with them again. Most of the people I've worked with in my time have been a delight, and I hope I've been a delight too. So they don't go, no, don't hire that guy. But yeah, I mean, most of the people I work with, it's just such a great experience, and it's like that's one of the reasons why I do this, because working with them makes me a better actor most of the time as well, and then my quality of work becomes so much better because of them. So
yeah,
I have
one of them was a female that you mentioned.
Lynn?
No,
Felissa? Bye?
Maybe.
You can't tell me?
Well, I don't want to
listen. If I'm working with any of those three again, I'm ecstatic to do it. I mean, I'm
okay. Then you'd be happy.
Absolutely. I worked with like we have a new movie coming out that we're writing, and we're writing it for Lynn to be in it. And just because she was just so amazing in our film, Omicron Killer, she blew it away. The way she did the acting, I thought she was going for an Academy Award. I mean, she just really delivered. And like I said, she's just the nicest person in the world. And either Felissa and Bai, if I get to work with them again too, they're so much fun to be around, and their energy is just, I don't know how to explain. The energy just engulfs you, and you can't help yourself but uh, be energized by them. I know that sounds weird. I use the word
No,
energy.
I think a lot of times you could be around people who are like a battery charger. They just, infuse you with whatever they are built with. They can just fire you up. But yeah, I think then you would be very happy.
Oh, then I'm down. I'm down with it. I like doing the work because when people see my work and it inspires them, that's the biggest compliment. I don't, that's bigger than anything else. I don't care if I win an award. I don't need an Oscar. I don't need any of that. I need somebody to say, your work changed my life. And then I did a good thing in the world, I also like Felissa Rose has a friend that works with her named Deborah. And wow, she's amazing too. I was just like, we worked with some really cool people in this film. Rob Emmer from Impractical Jokers is in the film. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yes.
He's funny, and he seems really quiet, but he throws out a joke, and it's like, you sneaky little devil. It's like, that was funny, dude. Why did you hide that? And oh yeah, and then we had like just regular people. We had this girl play. Oh, what was her name in the film? I can't remember the name of her right now in the film. I have to go look in my notes. But her acting was just extraordinary, and she's been doing a whole bunch of film for like Hallmark, and those movies will be coming out soon. And a few other people that were in the film that no names, but I think they're going to be up and coming stars. Hopefully, if all works out for them.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That was
Don't
great.
copy off me, Anthony. You can't say it's awesome if I say it's awesome.
Huh?
I said, don't copy off me. You can't say it's awesome when I say it's awesome.
I always say it's awesome. You copying me. I don't copying you.
You copying me.
Hey, what's going on here? You know how it is. Hey, people. These people, you know what I'm saying?
So you were doing foreign films?
I've done a few. Finland, I think, was one, and Japan was another. Indonesia, Thailand. I have gone around.
That's all.
That's all. Not a big deal. I mean, it's not like I do it every day. I mean, I think 4 films. It's not bad, but I would, like I said, I'm not happy just doing a few. I wish I was working all the time. It doesn't always work out that big way because guys like me, is my size, 6'6", we're usually known as the pole in the movie. We're just standing there and not really much going on because they don't expect tall guys to be able to act. And then, I did what you did. It's called What You Did. You can see it on my IMDb. That's another film that we're working on about a serial killer who kills serial killers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like,
that's the one that's on there. You're sitting there, and you're talking to the guy, and he killed a girl.
Yeah, he kills children, and
he kills
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I listened to that. I listened to that. I'm like, holy shit, this fucking guy is scary. I'm talking about your part.
Oh, thank you.
Your part. I'm like, wow, and you did a really great job. I was like, that was really, great.
And I look very different from that part too,
yeah,
right?
you're all roughed out and beard all crazy and stuff. Well, you really.
It was darker too. I just recently have gone gray.
Tell me about it.
Last April, I was all this was dark, and then all of a sudden it came in gray a couple months later after I did that role, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened there? But most of my stuff that I have done, I've played Kingpin. I was supposed to be Kingpin in one of the Marvel things, but I played Kingpin in something else. And if you look at my IMDb and you see that picture, you can see how different each of my characters look. We don't look the same, even though it's the same person. But yeah, that I can't wait for that one to come out. That is strong, good dialogue, suspense, and like you said, something that could really happen if maybe has happened. Who knows? But there definitely are people who do things like kill kids or kill women, and my character doesn't like that. So he goes and kills all of them. So he's a serial killer of serial killers. A lot of people say, "Oh, like Dexter." I'm like, "Well, I never saw Dexter." So, and "Oh, you never saw Dexter?" I'm like, "Sorry, I can't watch everything." But yeah, I wrote that and helped direct that because I want to, I got somebody helping me because I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable directing myself. So I'll let them direct me, and then I'll direct the rest of the scene or something like that. The same thing with the Omicron. I helped with direction of that, but my director on that one basically let me do what I felt was the best for the character, and didn't give me many pointers. Maybe told me 3 times something that he wanted me to try different than what I did, and I had to take it in because it's like when you're tired and you've been there all the whole day and you know what you want to do, but you're not getting it because of something like maybe the blood is too sticky and the things aren't moving the way they're supposed to, you get a little cranky. And so it's nice when a director lets you do what you feel is the good for the character. And sometimes you don't want them to tell you what they want to tell you because of the fact that it's like, it's not because I don't want to do it. It's because something's messing up with the scene that's not letting me do it. And it gets a little frustrating when you're being told you're doing something wrong when it's not you. It's some other situation in the process that's keeping you from being able to perform the way they want. Because you don't want to sit there and have 20 takes for no reason. If you have 20, you want to make sure it's not because you're messing up your lines or not being able to hit your mark. It has to be something that's not you. And then you feel more comfortable with the fact that you are doing 15-hour days.
Yeah.
Do you think that's your most diverse role, what you did?
What's that? What you
did?
did?
Is that like your most diverse role in what you did?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of my favorites. I'll definitely say that because it showed that a big man can act. Because there's not that many that I if you can name them, I'll be surprised. I mean, I think the tallest person is Ben Affleck, and I don't know how people feel about his acting. So, but he's about 6'4", 6, and he's probably one of the tallest actors. But most actors are not that tall. I liked when I did Gotham because they gave me the chance to create the character of the puppet master. I mean, I know the character was already created, but they let me. They weren't intending me to be the puppet master. They gave me a stuffed dog, and they said, "All right, do something with this and make a character that we can film in here." I said, "All right." So basically, the dog tells me what to do, and it's playing chess with me and beating me while it's doing a crossword puzzle, and I'm losing to this stuffed animal. And then the guy played Gordon in Gotham, lost his keys, and he suspects that I have them. So he asked me, did I take the keys? And my character is supposed to swing at him, but the outfit they had me wearing was a little loose, and it grabbed the light that was on the set, and it smashed and shattered. So the reaction you see of the characters in that scene was legit because they did not expect that. So all their reactions they got, And it was funny because the director comes up to me and goes, "I'm glad we filmed you last." I said, "Why?" He goes, "We don't have another light, and we would have had to shoot everything over." So yeah, happy accidents. I love happy accidents in filming.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I did some swing grip and I did some grip work and I worked on some independent. My cousin owns a production company, and they were doing like little independent movies, and that blood. I was in charge of the blood. Uh, and yeah, the worst person. And you, like you said, that stuff gets sticky,
Mm.
and and once you get it all over you, then you can try to wash it off. Your hands stay red or whatever. Yeah, it's like the guy got stabbed. He was on the floor, so we put cardboard around him. Then we had to pour the blood in, and they wanted the blood oozing, so we put the cardboard down, and so we pour the blood in. So they got the camera right in, and it's like there's only be one take. You got to do this one, and they count, and then we had to pull the cardboard up so the blood would ooze towards the camera,
Mm.
and we got it in one take. It was like they were so happy, but that was, man, that blood was really sticky, and of course, I get some on my mouth. I'm like, ugh. Oh boy.
You got to get the one that is edible friendly.
Yeah.
So the other stuff is
that's
nasty.
more money. You know, when you got to, that's
True.
more money.
Absolutely.
So they want to go with the cheaper one. So, yeah, because it wasn't going into the guy's mouth. It wasn't supposed to go in anybody's mouth except for mine, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But they had this big vat. I had to pour it out. It was crazy.
We had a scene, and we were in. It was cold, so it's worse when that stuff's on you when it's get cold, because all of a sudden you're dropped a few more temperature than the rest of the body. It's not exposed to that, and I'm supposed to throw a crowbar across the street and hit this person, but not hit the person, and it stuck. And it caught in the back of the person's head. And luckily for us, it, like, the momentum of the thing was just slow enough that it didn't. But when I went to grab the thing and pull it, it grabbed her hair and then ripped. So this poor lady, she got hit with a crowbar, and then I pulled out her hair, and they're still filming it. So it is realistic, because it really happened. And it's like, that's not what we meant to do. The blood part is very hard. You have to really know what you're doing with that. And I haven't done many movies with a lot of blood, actually, for me. Like, I didn't get involved with a lot of blood. But this one was a learning experience for sure, because it's like, man, I don't want to do it in cold at all, because it just, it almost feels like you're having frostbite.
Yeah, I got almost kicked off a set when we were doing the same show. It was called Homeland. It was supposed to be a Jewish girl and a Pakistani man that were supposed to get together, and it was to fight between the families. But the whole thing is, I was behind set. We just set up. We got the lights, everything working and stuff, and all of a sudden, I go behind the set because I'm all set up and the set's going, and I got somebody coming back there. What the hell are you doing? Yelling at me. I fell asleep and started snoring.
While they were filming?
While they're filming, and the guy with the boom is like, "What the hell is that noise?" And, the audio guys are like, "What's that? What's that?" We hear it, and they're like, "You gotta stay up." I was like, "But you just did 16 hours, and then you went home, and then you had to come back the next day to get the equipment to go." We were going. It was in Long Island City. Then we had to go to Jersey the next day, so I had to go get the truck with all the equipment on the truck, all the lights. So I was doing a swing grip then, and I went out there and we got to Jersey. Then we had to get this film done within a month, so they would just keep on going. And so, I mean, I just sat back there. And next thing, oh boy, everybody was pissed at me. I'm like, "Hey, you're ruining a cut." And it's like, we almost had it. Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah, but man, I mean, it's exhausting, and people think it's like so easy. Oh, these actors, this and that. Oh no, I mean, the ones that make the millions and millions, yeah, I don't feel too bad for them putting in those hours. But for the guys like me who are, busting our hump for less than, less than six figures, that's for sure. But we're giving out as much as we can. We're giving out our whole effort so the audience, when they see it, can be entertained. It's like we don't get enough accolades for what we do. I mean, I'm not trying to say like I'm a superhero or something like that. I'm definitely no hero, but I play one on TV. You know, that's just
totally new appreciation for the
Put
entertainment business. After filming, on Sunday, it was literally all day from morning till way late at night. It was beyond 12 hours, like I don't know, 14 hours all day, grueling. Don't get to, don't get to eat when you're ready to eat, or don't get to drink anything when you really need a drink, and you're standing on your feet all day long. And yeah, you don't get to use a bathroom. The bathroom, the toilet overflowed because there were so many people on set.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good. I'll give you one experience. I did a movie called Orchard Beach. Okay, we did.
I've seen that with the zombies.
Yes,
Yeah,
we did
I was
22 hours, 7 days. We did 22 hours for 7 days each day. I was getting 2 hours sleep after we would close set and coming back to set. Not everyone was doing that, just me. If you watch the movie and you see my eyes in the film when I become a zombie, that was real. That was not makeup. I had infection from lack of sleep, and then whatever was at Orchard Beach. And if anybody knows Orchard Beach in the Bronx, it's a disgusting cesspool of a beach. And some of the sand must have got my eye or something. So I had like a real bad reaction, like a pink eye or something like that. So it was gross, but I was like, I push on, man. I said, just film it. And they're like, are you sure we can cut? I said, no, if we do that, we'll never finish the film. So they did it. And then I had people who've seen the movie go, yeah, I liked it, but the makeup for that guy, it was really bad. I'm like, that's when people don't know what they're talking about, because that was real. So it's like whatever. But 22 hours, and then I had to fly to India in a couple days after that film was done. So I had to have medicine, get that infection out of the way. I had like 3 infections at the same time. I had to get all that out, and then I could fly to India, and then we were filming a documentary that I did in India. And luckily we were able to get that. And then India is interesting. If you ever been there, there's some really cool stuff there. Go to Goa, India during monsoon season. It's not very busy, obviously, because the monsoons are coming through there. But if you like rain, like I do, and like weather, me and my kid were in a pool, and it started to rain. And this lady comes running out. Get out of the pool before you get wet. And me and my son just looked at each other like,
you're in the pool.
my son, who's only at the time was 10, goes, really, Daddy? I was like, you find all kinds around the world, my son. You'll find them all.
That's funny.
Hello,
That's funny.
Craig. How you doing? There's a lot of people coming through.
Yeah. We have everybody that steps in. Craig's another one. He has Three Beards podcast, and he it's strictly focused on, I think, a lot of like cryptid stuff and UFO stuff and Bigfoot, and he's a good guy. He's got a great show.
Yeah, so I mean, I see you did commercials. What commercials did you do? Did you have? Is this part of your bio? Do any commercials I've seen?
I don't know. I mean, I've done things for Verizon. I did something for a shave club. If you guys know the shave club.
My son belongs to that. Yeah.
Were you a doublemint twin?
No. I've been told I have a doppelganger around. I mean, everyone says, I know someone who looks just like you. And I said, I feel for them. I really do. That'd be a hard life looking like me. But I must have like a million twins out there, because, like I said, everywhere I go, somebody says, I know someone who looks just like you. I remember if you guys ever watched Chips, the newer movie, the remake.
The new one? I might have, yes.
the guy D'Onofrio or whatever his name is, Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, he's
Oh,
famous.
yeah.
And he's a decent actor. I mean, he does a lot of Law and Order, I think is.
Yeah, he does.
So we're flying somewhere. Me and my now ex-wife were flying together, and she was mad at me for something, and I pointed to the thing, and she goes, "Yeah, what?" I was like, "Oh, calm down." I said, "Look," she goes, "Yeah, so I've seen all your films." I said, "That's the point. That's not me. Looked just like me." I was like, it felt like they were like copying my look or something. Same thing with Jack Black. I feel Jack Black has the beard like I do, and I'm like, oh God, So I get like a lot of times people mistake me for them. Sometimes, like they're like, "Oh, weren't you in Chips?" They don't say their name, but they just say, "Weren't you in that?" I said, "No, that was somebody else who looked a lot like me in that particular film." Because I don't think they look like me in general. They don't, not at all. But when it came to those particular things, like I've seen them, and some of the times they look like they're uh, mimicking me or mocking me. I don't know. Yeah,
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
compliment, I guess. I mean, I just wish if they did do that, and they did because it was because they saw me in something, they give me a little bit of recognition. That's all I ask for. I mean, anytime anybody's done anything that I've said or done anything and they've utilized it and then not mention that they got it from me, it kind of hurts my feelings. It's like, I created that. Give me a little credit because I work hard for this. And but like I said, I'm not famous, just a guy just doing his thing. But it would be nice if you're gonna steal it or use it and you got it from somebody else, and not just me, if anybody, if you do that for anybody, just give them the credits because it's so hard to get recognition in this field that any little bit would help.
Yeah. You did voiceovers for video games?
Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4. I played the bikers.
Really?
Yeah, that was. I thought I was going to be doing voiceover work for the rest of my career. It was so much fun and so easy and so much money that I was like, dude, I'm doing this. And they told me they wanted me to keep doing other video games, but then I never heard from them again. It's like, oh my God, I don't know what I got to do to keep people to keep their word that they're going to hire me for something else. The same thing has happened with Gotham, Power. They keep saying they want to put me in something, and then they just forget about me. And it's like, I don't, I can't just go up there into their studio and say, hello, remember me? But, and then, I've had, let's see, that was one of my favorite things I did, was because when I was teaching science in New York City, the students were like, oh, I get to shoot you in this video game. I said, just don't do it in real life, okay?
My son loves that game. Loves it.
A lot of people, I get a lot of, that was you. Oh my God, that's my favorite game. And I'm like, of all the Grand Theft, really? All right. I hope that's because I did the bikers' voices.
I even played that game. I just drove around, just beating everybody up and running people over and shooting. I didn't go for the plot. I was
so bad at that game. This was me playing that game. Got into the ambulance, drove it about 2 feet, fell in the water and died. I said, that's it. I'm done with this game.
I used to get motorcycles. I used to steal the motorcycles. I used to love those.
Okay.
And, yeah.
I was just the worst at it. I was like, this is just not it's not my game. I like doing the voices, but this is not my game.
Yeah.
So was that the only video game that you did voiceovers for?
The only one that's come out that I know of. I did 2 others, but they never came out. So I don't know what happened with that.
Maybe in the future, somebody.
Yeah, like anything else, I think money and production. Like they didn't finish it, and they didn't get it wasn't well received, maybe as something that would make money, so they didn't even bother to put it out. Which I'm shocked, because almost any video game I've seen, really, really bad video games get put out. But who knows? I mean, I can't speak for them. Once I'm done doing what they asked me to do, my part is done. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, what about this? And I said, I don't know. Once I do it, I'm done. I don't ask them unless they want me to promote it. I kind of just mind my own business. And then once it comes out, I've had people come up to me and go, "Oh my God, you didn't tell me you were in this." I said, "Oh, because I forgot I was in it." And I don't like telling people I'm going to be in something, because then when I get cut out, I look like I was lying, and that's not good either. So
Yeah. You go, you do your job, and then you go home like anybody else. 9 to 5. You
yeah, I
go, you
mean,
do your job, then you go home.
I try not to be
Yeah.
a busybody with everything else, because
Hmm.
once you start like telling them things or asking them things, they start not wanting to have you around, because they're like, "Oh, this guy's trying to control
They
the
want something.
situation, or wants
Hmm.
to, do more than what he should." Just,
Hmm.
just do your thing, go home, and be happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. You have Shadow Film. Is that you?
That's my
Shadow
production
Film
company. Yeah, Shadow
and
Film.
and Dark Knight Entertainment. Is that you, or is
That's
that somebody else who works with you?
that's my co-partner. We did. He has his own films that he's done, and then we collaborated with COVID Killer and Omicron Killer and a couple other horror movies that we're going to be putting together. We're collaborating with that.
Hmm.
But we also have our separate things that we've worked on. He's worked on a few other things that has, some of it's done really good, and other things is, well, it's a work in progress.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
he did COVID Killer first. He created that with somebody else, and it was really bad. I mean, really bad. They were trying to do almost like a remake of Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, that was good.
Now, Nighthawks
That-
wasn't bad, no, but you don't make a remake of that film with
Which
something that's totally different and has
Nighthawk, was it called Cobra? Was it a Cobra film or Nighthawk?
Nighthawk. That
It
was
was
the one that
Nighthawk.
was, yeah, that basically a lot of, you'll see it if you watch COVID Killer, you'll go, "Oh, that's a lot like Nighthawks." And that's
Okay.
the thing where he had an argument with the other director, and he comes to me and goes, "Shadow, can you save this film?" And I said, "Well, let me see it." I was like, "Ooh, this is really bad. I don't like it. But if we do this, this, and this, and we put a couple twists in it, and we save some of the stuff you had, maybe we can do something with it." And we pulled it out. I mean, like I said, it wasn't. It's not an Oscar award winning film. It had a lot of um, a lot of hurdles that we had to go through to make that film be even possible. The
Hmm.
fact that it even got picked up, I was shocked. But it did get picked up because somebody saw what the storyline was, not worrying about some of the other stuff that other people have dwelled on, which I
Hmm.
agreed with. I mean, people are like, "Oh, this is bad." Yep. That's bad. Yep. Nothing I could do about that part.
Hmm.
What they go, "Well, what part did you do?" And I said, "Well, what part did you like?"
Yeah.
I'll take credit for that. I don't want to take credit for the bad stuff.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, anything you like, that's mine.
That's
Anything
right.
else? No, it's not
That
me.
was the other guy. That was the
Yeah,
other guy.
this
And
guy. Hey.
you had you
Uh,
had you had three directors, and you can see in the film where each director's part was. I mean, it's very apparent the
mhm.
different styles of the direction. And the one guy had his direction, which I'm not really to bash, but it was, to me, wasn't quality and really needs some help. And but we had to use it because it was, if we didn't use it, we never would have had a film. Because right now, during COVID, we didn't have any money, we didn't have actors, we didn't have anything. We put it together on a shoestring, like $1,500, and we've already grossed over 500,000. So I don't have a
No,
problem with that. I
no,
mean,
that's nice.
not many people can say that they did something like that. So
No, what was the name of that movie? I want to go check it out.
COVID Killer,
Overkiller.
the COVID Killer.
Oh, the Cobra Killer.
Right,
Okay,
right, right.
okay.
And then the Omicron, like I said, the Omicron,
Omicron.
we actually got money, we got actors. It's a step above. Like, if you watch it, you'd think we did um a studio film instead of an indie film. It really
Okay.
does look a lot better than the original. It's a sequel.
Hmm.
Um it has, because we used like a red cam, we used some major actors, we have a composer who is known, we have, like I said, the editor who's done like 34 uh, Hollywood films. We got not George Lucas, but Lucas Studios is involved with the special effects. So for me, I feel like this one is, if it doesn't do well, that's because people didn't give it a chance to go watch it, because it is really a kick-ass film. It's got some great music in it. It's just a really badass film. I think it's going to be one of the cults, like something like watching like Freddy or Jason or Michael Myers kind of thing.
Yeah. Let's hope it becomes a series. Series of other movies that follow too.
Well,
That'd be awesome.
we do have some other films like Crazy Clowny and some other spin-offs from this that we already are in the works with the scripts. We have our own production company with different DPs and directors that we trust, and sound people and grips and all that, that goes with it, and actors that that I've worked with over the years for other things that when I've called them up, they go, "Yep, because it's you, we'll definitely be part of it." So I'm excited. I'm just really happy to see that a lot of the hard work that I put in since I started really doing film has paid off, in bundles and dividends of just some good stuff to watch.
Do you have your company? You have all the own equipment with the cameras and all the audio stuff, or
The people
I know that.
Yeah, the people who do work for us have their equipment. Like my DP has his equipment. My sound people, they have their equipment. They bring that to the table. I'd rather them use their stuff that they're comfortable with. I think I get more out of them when it's the stuff that they're used to. If I don't like your work, I don't work with you again. But I'll give everybody a chance. I worked with this one guy named Slick. He did a movie called Full Circle, and he was one of the youngest directors to put a full length film together, and it's a great dark comedy. Rob Morgan is in it. He's amazing. A lot of the people in the cast have gone on to do other major films, so if you can see that. And then he did a show called Bruno, Hey Bruno, which was on Netflix about, and I did a music video that was about, it won awards, and it's good stuff. And he worked on Power. He directed one of the episodes. He's worked me a lot. I've done music videos and movies and TV shows with him. So he's very loyal to the people that work for him and do work for him really good. He likes to work with them again. And excuse me. He's one of my favorite. And I gave him a chance because he was a new director. And I said, I want to do your film. And I came on audition playing a Spanish guy, which I'm not authentically Spanish. And he goes, Shadow, you did really good, but you're not Spanish. I can't hire you for that role. I said, that's all right. I understand. So he calls me 3 months later and he goes, do you want to still be in my film? I said, what do you mean? I thought, he goes, no, I wrote you in. He goes, I liked you so much. I just wrote you into the film. I was like, wow, that is one of the greatest compliments I've ever received from a director. So, and then, yeah, that film was great. I mean, if you haven't seen it, go find it. It's called Full Circle. One of my favorite roles I played, even though it was a small role, because of all the attention I got just from doing that little part. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've done some fun stuff. So I've worked with, like I said, I've worked with some amazing people. I don't want to do a bunch of name dropping. I don't know if that's corny or not. But if you ask me and he's like, well, what was it like to work with this person? Then I'll tell you a story about it. Like I said, I worked on Power, and like people ask me about 50 Cent, and I'm like, yeah, he's funny. We had a good time on that set, and one of the best. Like they treated you so good on that set. I mean, they were just, that was one of my favorite sets to work on.
It's funny when you work on the set and they feed you and everything. You gotta get there before the crew gets there.
Well, they feed the crew first. They always feed the crew first. But like we said, when I was on Power, they had a truck full of brownies and chocolate chip cookies and
Oh.
all these this amazing sweets, right? I'm like, how can you not like these guys? I mean, cupcakes. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, even if I don't look like, come on, I look like a guy that eats, right? I mean, you couldn't help yourself, and it was like the best. It wasn't like bad brownies; they were good brownies. Like, this is the bomb place to eat, man. And like I said, they just made sure you were happy on set, so you delivered the best you could. They didn't let you be tired. They gave you hot chocolate and everything when it was cold, and made sure you were warm. And when it was hot, they made sure you were air conditioned. So they just really even like my character on Power was at first I started out as just a guy in a lineup, so nobody. Then I became the Ukrainian bodyguard. Well, they killed off the Ukrainians, but they liked me, and I liked working with Tommy and the guy who played Ghost and 50 Cent. So they brought me back as the Italian bodyguard, so I could work the rest of the time with them. And I worked 3 more seasons, and I'm the only character, non-essential character, that didn't get killed off in that show. So and that just proves, like, I mean, yeah, okay, my character wasn't a huge success. Like, people don't go, "Oh, that guy's acting's great," because again, big guys don't usually. But they treated me like with some respect, and they kept bringing me back. And as long as you respect me, I respect you. I'll support you 100%.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was always part of the crew. I was always behind the camera with everything I shot. My cousin's company, he's in Astoria, Bigfoot Productions,
Oh,
and he
okay.
done. And I worked with him because I'm an electrician by trade, and we always went on furloughs. So when I went on furlough, I worked with him. So I used to go on and set, and when I was on furloughs, I was on furloughs for like 6, 7, 8, maybe up to a year sometimes. And I did a lot of work with him back and forth. And I was part of camera crews. I was swing grip because I was an electrician, so I had to do the lights and everything, and did grip work and whatever they needed, because a lot of movies were like low budget. So if you're there and you're sitting there, they're gonna have you do something else. It's like, yeah, put the blood down. One of this. So yeah, it was, to me. I always found it interesting how they got it together, and then I sat in a couple of the editing rooms, and that was interesting how they edit. I sat there nice and quiet, and they just did what they were gonna do. I also worked with him. This is when it was still cassette tapes. We were in the dub room. It was like 1980 something. What was the name of that? Gramercy Broadcasting. And we were in the dub room at nighttime, and so we had to get all the cassettes, was the video, the VCR tapes, and all these big cassettes. We had to get the movies out. We had to make the recording and send them out to all these big production companies. So I got to see a lot of movies. That's how I got to see Goodfellas through them. We just, and we've seen it because it still has the numbers on the bottom of the tape.
Right.
So it was interesting. It was like, I always found it interesting, but I went in a different field. I became an electrician, and but yeah, I always found it interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand the people that complain when they work on set. I mean, I know it's a lot of grueling hours, but you get to hang out with like famous people, and you get to be part of production of the show. That if somebody likes it, you go, "That was me." You can be proud of that,
Yeah.
I never understood people getting upset. Or like the the most interesting part is watching somebody go, look at their watch and go, "It's already been an hour and a half. Why aren't we done yet?" Like, what are you talking about? Movies only take an hour and a half. Like, no, like, no. What are you? Like, you're so wrong. It's like, and then they want to go. It's like you don't enjoy acting. You say you enjoy acting, but you obviously don't, because it's more than just doing your lines and going home. And there's a more of a process, man. And if you can't put those hours in, you're in the wrong field. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that 1 month I worked with him straight through before I had to go back to work. back to my regular job, and the hours. You're getting home at 12 o'clock at night. Then you got to pick up the truck 5 o'clock in the morning, and go to another state. And then you get to that state. Now you got to undrive. You got to find spots to park and everything, especially in locations. And then you have to, especially if you're doing it inside apartments, you got to bring all the equipment up, get all the lighting and everything, and it's you've been through it, so.
Yeah, but you gotta love it. If you don't love it, you're definitely you're gonna be complaining. You're just gonna be, look at that guy complaining again. God, he keeps bitching. It's not for you. Move on. Go to do something else. Or suck it up, Buttercup,
and just do your job. You're getting paid well. You really are getting paid well.
I mean, there's other people shoveling shit. Excuse my language. I hope I won't. But there's other people doing things that are a lot worse than what you're doing, and you're complaining. Shut up. I can't. I mean, I get frustrated when I hear the production people crying about stuff, because it's like they do get paid well. I mean, it's when they're working, obviously you have to get on. But when people hear you complaining about every little thing, you don't get picked up again. That's why. It's not because the work isn't there. There's tons of work out there. So if you're not getting picked up for movie production, maybe you're not getting an actor, because it's hard to be. First off, there's like 14 million actors on IMDb, so not everybody's going to get a part, right? But production, there's not that many people who can do those roles as well, and they got a lot of work. That's all I'm saying. It's like I see people like on multiple different things for ABC or NBC or CBS. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've worked with that person a few times now. Or they've worked on TV shows, and then I see them on a movie set. So, and then the ones that were the most fun to work with and tend to be the ones I see the most, and the ones that were a pain in the ass, I don't see them again. It's like, well,
there's a reason for that.
There's always a rhyme for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Shadow, what Matt Ryan saying that he films on a red Komodo. What do you use to film?
A red cam. I mean, I'm not 100% on the name, but it's called a red cam 4K. It can go up to 8K, but it doesn't. We use the 4K because that's the standard right now, as far as I know. I'm not a huge detail person when it comes to those things. There's people who know every little single serial number of what they're using. I'm not that guy, but I do know what I'm doing with what I have. I'm more of I let my eye do the work for me when it comes to filming. Same thing when I do photography. I couldn't tell you the difference between one camera to the other. I just know when I can take good pictures.
Well, I think it's that he's one of those people, because he said a Red Raptor 8K.
A Red Raptor 8K. Now, I don't know the word Raptor, I know the word Raptor. Okay, I'm not that dumb. But I don't know it for the camera. I never heard of a Red Raptor. I just know a Red Cam, an 8K. But like I said, we're using 4K because when you have to give the deliverables for theater and for streaming, you have to have a specific thing that if you don't have that, they won't put it out there. They can't, or they don't want to. I don't know if they can't, but a lot of times they're very specific on what you have to deliver to them for sound, video, and everything else.
It sounds like a dinosaur. I have no idea.
I just learned about Red Cam because, like I said, we did COVID Killer on my friend's cell phone. Swear to God. And the only reason we did that is because we couldn't order anything and we didn't have the money to do it. And we're like, but we wanted to make something. We were tired of sitting at home. We wanted to create something, and we did it illegally because we weren't supposed to be outside. So we're sneaking around, doing this thing like a bunch of kids.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
Mission Impossible. And
then, I mean, we're filming off of, if you know New York at all, we're by the highway in the city. uptown, and
West Side?
Yeah, West Side.
West Side Highway.
I think so. Yeah, right. And I'm holding a fake sledgehammer, and the other guy is holding a real butcher knife, but I was told it was fake, so I don't know any better. Well, the cops drive by him being filmed, and I'm just waiting because we're kind of doing a filming, but we're kind of doing just a photo shoot. So the cops come by. I don't know they're cops. They just look like two guys driving by, and they park a little bit, couple streets down, and then they start coming towards me, and I'm like, oh Jesus, what's going on here? And the one guy he shows me that he has a gun. I'm like, Jesus, this is not going to go good. So he goes, what are you doing? I said, just doing a photo shoot. He goes, is that real? I said, no, it's a fake. What do you mean real? No, it's a fake. It's a fake sledgehammer. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, people get killed doing stuff like this. I said, for carrying a fake sledgehammer, you kill people? What kind of cop are you? So then he's like, what are you filming? Or I said, no, I think we're just taking photo shoots. I mean, that's what I was told. So I'm just going by what I'm told. So he's like, go with me. I was like, okay. And his partner was like a slim Asian dude looking like he should be in the movies. I mean, this guy looked like top notch, like model actor. So I thought we were getting punked by like Law and Order or something. And so we go to where my director and the other guy are, and the film crew is. Well, it was two people, to be honest, with the film crew. And they asked him, because I hear he asked me, is that knife real? And I said, no, because I was told no. So I was being honest. So then the guy goes, yeah, it's real. I'm like, oh, you guys are trying to get me killed. So it was just a mess. But the one guy who had the knife puts it down, and then he's yelling at the director to give his identity so we don't get in trouble or something like that. And basically he got on the side of the cop side, and he's yelling at me and the director. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? It was pretty but luckily they just let us go. But man, it's like trying to film a guerrilla style film like that for $1,500, using a cell phone, having real weapons, not having fake weapons, because you can't get a fake weapon because you couldn't afford to find that. So you took something out of your drawer at your house, almost get your actor killed by the cops. I mean,
but as long as if you get it on video, hey, you can put it out there. Well,
the fact that like I said, I mean, when people like talk bad about the film, it's like, okay, but we put a film together. You haven't. Just remember that. Like, you can talk smack with us when you put a film together. And I mean, okay, I might not like somebody's film, but I do respect the fact that they put it together, because one of the things about filmmaking is more times than not, the movie never gets finished. And so when I do see a film that got finished, I do respect that. Even if I don't like the film, I do respect the fact that it got completed. Same thing with music. I don't like all music, but the stuff that they did it and the other people haven't. So the judgmentals who don't do anything but complain about other people's work need to start doing some of their own stuff, and then see how hard it is, and maybe they'll shut up and not be so critical.
One of my favorite guys in the world who did an interview with me, his name is Matt Porter from Montgomery County College. He said, was the director Matt Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, so I was like, I thought that was too soon, so I let it go.
Nothing's too soon on the show.
But Maureen brought it up, so no, it wasn't Alec.
Listen, I will always go there. You can always count on me for that one.
He's not a nice guy. I mean, it's funny that he jumps on Trump, and it's like, oh yeah, hello pot. You seen a kettle lately? I mean, you have a lot of nerve talking about other people.
Yeah.
And then some of his work has been, I never worked with the guy, so I don't know him personally, but I know, like, I've seen his behavior in New York because he lives in New York, and he doesn't like a lot of people, and he's very nasty to people most of the time. So
He
I don't know.
acts like he's easygoing and he's kind, but he's not. I've heard stories.
I've just seen things from him. Like I've seen the wrong side. I'm sure people say the same thing about me. Oh, that Shadow, he's a real mean bastard. You got me on my day where you pushed a button you shouldn't have pushed. I mean, what can I say? I mean, we're all human. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not too judgmental of the guy. I've seen some stuff that I'm like, I'm weary. If I ever cross his path, I know to not push a button, and then I should be good.
Yeah, don't take his picture or don't take his parking spot.
I don't talk about his wife.
Oh.
Matt wants to know: have you ever worked with John Bethnal Punisher?
I
talk about that, right?
I auditioned against him, but no. That was. There's a lot of times I've gone in audition. Oh my god, I've auditioned against John Cena, Jack Black, Vincent D'Onofrio, John Bethnal, some of the big time actors out there, and I'm like, I feel good because at least I know who I'm competing against somebody, so my quality of work must be saying something, but then I don't get it, and it's like, of course, like they're way ahead of me on the star
That's
power.
the thing. Like you're doing this, and it's like John Cena.
When he walked in, I'm like, give me a break. I'm not getting this part.
But you couldn't even see him.
Nope. He just went by me. Somebody said he was there. I said, really? I said, I didn't even see him. Right.
You have your own talk show?
I used to. I did it for about 4 years.
Did you just get tired of it, or was it like?
It was called The Shadow Show. Basically, I did a lot of comedy in real life situations. Like we did stuff about real world events, politics, sports. So we talked about real stuff, but then I threw in my sense of humor. And one example is we were doing a filming during the Olympics, and I was like, "Oh, I got an idea." And my what do you call him? Producer was like, "What, Shadow?" Because I always came up with things that like I didn't always plan everything. It was like sometimes it just came to my mind, the last second. I said, "How about we order food from like a Chinese place, an American restaurant, a Russian restaurant, an Italian restaurant, and see who gets here first. And that person gets a gold, the next person gets a silver, and the next person gets bronze." He's like, "No shit, dude." So yeah. So of course, the Americans came in last, and
yeah.
And then
Chinese fight first.
Yep, Chinese were first.
Always 10 minutes.
Yeah, the Russians got a lower score because of the American judge, and but it was it's just something that I found I love doing. I mean, if I could do that again, but see, we had the bubble hit, and we had a lot of money just disappear, and most of our all of our basically sponsors kind of just said, we don't have any money to sponsor you anymore, and so I moved on to the next thing. But if I could go back to it, that was those 4 years were some of the most fun that I had. I mean, I interviewed some amazing people in music. If you know V&V Nation from any kind of industrial music, met some people that were no names and put them out there. That's how I met Zombie Hunters. Zombie Hunters came on my show. I liked what they did, and I said, if you need an actor, call me. And they did. And then I was they put me in their show named Tank. And yeah, that was fun. And then from there, I did a lot of stuff after that. I mean, their show kind of got me catalyst to meeting a lot of other people in the indie film. So I did a lot of indie films. I've done mostly zombie stuff, but I've also done vampire, werewolf. I haven't done Frankenstein yet, but the other, old school horror stuff I've been involved in.
So if you could choose to be one of those things, what would you be?
Werewolf, vampire, zombie?
Yeah.
Oh, werewolf.
Really?
Oh yeah, werewolf.
Anthony, what would you be?
I absolutely adore. I wrote my own screenplay about werewolves, and it was werewolves and vampires and stuff like that. Yeah, I love werewolves. I think they're really cool. I mean, the whole idea of them. Vampires are cool because they live forever, kind of thing. But you go out in the sun, and I like the sun, so.
Yeah, I like wolves. Yeah,
Anthony, you'd be a werewolf?
I'd definitely be a wolf. Yeah, yeah. So
I would-
everything I do, I mean, I got, I have everything wolves around me. It's like,
You're definitely a wolf.
even my, they call me Tony Wolf, and I like wolves. I mean, I have statues, all kinds of stuff around me that's wolves. So
if you
I
like
would
it a lot,
totally
you
be
should watch a
vampire.
film called Theater of Terror. It was an anthology, and one of the um, movie parts and that were in that was called Endangered. It has about wolves, and I'm in that, but I'm not a wolf in that. But I did that scene because it was about werewolves, so I wanted to be part of that. And that's a great director. That guy can do so much with so little money. If he ever got a chance to be a major director, like with major film project, he should be a filmmaker. Like he is a filmmaker. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be indie. It should be like a major Hollywood film.
What was your? I mean, growing up, I know you said Exorcist was one of your favorites, your scariest. But when you were growing up, B movies. I used to love B movies. I used to watch them all the time, from Puppet Master to all these. You know, do you remember any of them? I know I'm bad with names, so I could tell you what it is, but I can't remember the names half of them.
Okay, Phantasm.
Phantasm, yeah.
That was a great one. The one where it was about it was called Prophecy, not the one with Christopher Walken, the other one with the bear that got contaminated and was going around the woods and killing people. Oh my God, there's so many. I used to I used to watch films and not realize as a kid that I watched them and was having dreams about them and thought I was having incredibly original dreams and reoccurring dreams. Phantasm is one of them. I used to have that fucking ball chasing me around as a kid in my nightmares. Zombie movies like Dawn of the Dead, where they hide in the
mall.
In the mall. That kind of thing where I'm hiding in a house that has all these secret walls and stuff hiding from the zombies. Oh my God. I mean, and these, I don't know if you call those B movies, some of those, but yeah, those are the ones that I had. Sleepaway Camp was a good one. Just because that was like, first off, I thought Felissa Rose was one of the most attractive women at the time as a kid. I was like, wow, she's gorgeous. And then the surprise, if no one's seen that, go watch that film and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. I don't want to ruin things.
I seen Sleepaway Camp. I seen the both. There was two of them. I believe 1 and 2. I seen both of them. I liked all those old, type movies. Then you could see maybe they were low budget or whatever, but they were
very entertaining still.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys know Michael Berryman, we were talking about werewolves. He loves wolves. Yeah, he's such a great guy. I love talking to him. He's done some great. I don't know if they're called B movies because they're with huge directors, but they're like absurd kind of like horror movies, but they're still good. That like The Hills Have Eyes and stuff like that.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and
the original one.
Yes,
you like the original one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but he's also done like some incredible dramas. Like he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's a good movie.
He has a really good resume.
Wow.
And They Live. That's a good one. Any Carpenter film. John Carpenter.
Yeah, Carpenter.
Yeah, favorite films. I
Clive
love
Barker, I used to like his movies too.
Clive Barker, but I loved working like Roddy Piper. I mean, how can you not like a film that has him in it? You know.
I mean, you see him in the film. It's like that was what the with the aliens, the UFOs.
The guys who, with you wearing the shades, you can see that they're, and you can see it on the advertisements. It was like subliminal messages and stuff like that. And Rowdy Piper was one of the coolest dudes. And when he man, I'm gonna start crying. When he passed away, that hit me, man, because he was really a cool dude. And a lot of people don't know how cool some of these human beings were, and it's a shame because they're gone, and there's nothing we can do to get back that time with them.
Yeah.
And it wears heavy on my heart. A lot of the people that I've met in this industry have passed away, and I can feel my heart getting heavy right now. And it's like, and some people that I wanted to work with and I never got the chance, and it's too late. Those are my only regrets, not being able to work with people that I wanted to work with before they passed away.
Well, that movie, remember, was it trilogy or Terror with that little doll?
Oh,
that's only 23 minutes. That whole movie.
And that thing is the scariest thing out there.
My wife is still afraid of it. My brother. I went to matter of fact, it was the horror show, the Chiller Theater show in New Jersey, and I was going to buy that doll just for my brother. And he's like, "Don't you dare! It's your birthday. Come on, no."
You're mean, man. You are so vindictive for no reason. Like, what did he do to you?
He's my brother. It's my younger brother. I was going to put it on the shelf and then just take that little bracelet thing off the side, and right so he could see it.
Anthony, I'm glad I'm not on your bad side. I'm afraid what you would get from me.
Yeah, my wife's that movie still terrifies people.
Yep.
And it's that little, and it's so funny because now we have all this the FX, all this computer stimulated stuff and everything. Back then, it was just that freaking little doll.
That stuff is more scary than the new stuff they have now, man. Yeah, okay, Jaws. I was so terrified of Jaws that we had blue carpet in my house, and I would refuse at night to walk on it. I would jump from furniture to furniture. My parents were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And my mom's like, "This is what happens when you take a 6-year-old to watch Jaws or whatever it is." You can't do that to a kid. It traumatizes them.
My sister wouldn't swim or sit on the toilet or be in the tub.
Well, I understand that. You ever see the movie where it was like a swamp creature and the hand was like chasing the person and then the salt water killed it? I can't remember that film, but that was a great film. It was like actually maybe a TV show.
Swamp Thing?
It wasn't Swamp Thing, but it was like, I'm sure somebody in your audience might know what I'm talking about. It was, I can't remember the name.
I know there was a movie, The Hand. That was a hand that used to crawl around. It's an old movie. And kill people.
This thing was attached to a creature, but when it got chopped off, it still chased people around.
Oh, wow. Okay. I've probably seen it, but I don't remember the name. That sounds familiar.
And Valerie Harper did a film where a TV show, which I think was the scariest TV show ever made, of when she was at a house that was haunted or something. And then at the end, this kid comes up above the bed frame when she's in the hospital, and it was her dead daughter or something like that. I mean, those are better than what we have right now. I mean, we rely too much on special effects that aren't scary.
Yeah. The special effects now, okay, but like I said, back then, as growing up, those things were like some of the scariest things. You know, it was unbelievable how. Like I said, growing up, and I seen Night of the Living Dead on Channel 13 on a black and white TV back in 68, 69. It was on Channel 13. and what happened. The reason I was watching, it was like late at night, like after 10 o'clock. They put these things on, and my mother was having a Tupperware party. We lived in the house. My grandparents on the first floor. We lived on the second floor. So my mother was having a Tupperware party. So no men allowed. So I couldn't stay. So I was downstairs and I was watching TV. My grandmother and my grandfather didn't know what I was watching because he was off doing his thing and stuff. And I'm sitting there by myself, Channel 13, watching Night of the Living Dead. These zombies coming in and eating. And I'm like, back then I was sitting there by myself, and it was like like 11 o'clock at night, and I was maybe about 8 years old, 9 years old at that time, and it's like yeah, and it's like what? And you just wanted to watch, and then you're watching these things eat people. It was like wow.
My mom always said to me, "Why do you watch them if you always do it this way?" And I was like, "I don't know. I love them, but I hate them at the same time."
You want to see what's going on, yeah. My first thing,
curious about it, like you said, but at the same time, scared the living crap out of me as a kid. I mean, at 6'6", nothing that scares me anymore. But back then, I was not that tall, and I was just a little kid. Man, forget about it. One of my all-time favorite movies is Alien. I mean, that was a scary ass film.
That was, and when the creature with the mouth coming out.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa! When you first see it, you see it come into the face.
And how innovative was that? I mean, that was creative as hell at the time. I mean, that wasn't something that that's why I love the 70s and 80s horror films, because the creativity and the originality of these things was just above and beyond what we get now.
Mm-hmm.
Like but I mean, I know it's been done, so it's hard to be creative, but come on, there's got to be something. I'd like to be like pleasantly like, okay. Do you like The Last of Us?
The Last of Us.
Yeah, it's the video game.
Oh, the video game. Oh yeah, it's on HBO right now. I've been watching it. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Pleasantly surprised based on the fact that they've had a new twist on how something became a zombie through fungi and global warming. I was like, oh, that's original. Now that's why I'm watching the show. I'm watching it. I can't wait for the next episode, even if it's boring. If they can put something in there that kind of like the first 2 episodes really caught my attention because they talked more about how it came about. Like I love the fact that they put Indonesia in there because Indonesia is one of my favorite countries. It's like my second home. I love going there. And people go, "Oh, you mean Bali?" I'm like, no, Bali is part of Indonesia. It's like Bali's not a separate country. But Bali's really nice. But there's so many other parts of Indonesia that if you go to, like Malang is amazing, man. The waterfalls there are gorgeous. Bali's okay, but some other parts of Indonesia just blow that away. And I don't know if it just got overrated. Not that I don't like Bali. I like it a lot. I like more of the rainforest of Bali because you just hang out there and you got the rain coming down and it's warm and you feel like you're part of nature and you can let all your anxiety melt away. And you ever see the movie Love, Pray, Eat, or Eat, Love, Pray, Eat, Pray, Love? That they have, Bali in there, and it's like, okay. But it's funny is that they say, where India, right? And then where was the other place she went to before she went down to Bali? Was it Thailand?
Oh, in the game?
Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, that I don't know. You see that one.
But they name the countries and then they say Bali instead of Indonesia. I'm like, come on, people. It's like, you dropped the ball on that one for me. But yeah, but I mean, if you can go into there and just feel the energy that's in the nature that's in Indonesia. Thailand's another place. Laos, I love Laos. I love Vietnam. Some of the nicest people in the world, man. They came up to me, and I thought because of the war they would hate me. Oh no, they were hugging me, and they weren't robbing me. They were just very nice people. It wasn't like they were just, Like no one was pickpocketing me. Like in some other places I've been in the world, you get pickpocketed. I mean, they were just kind human beings. It's like I love Vietnam. Hanoi was amazing. Where else? Cambodia. Oh, you got if you like temples, because I feel temples have more of that paranormal kind of thing happening around them.
Spirituals, spirits.
And you got to go to Cambodia and go to Angkor Wat. I mean that's pretty good. And then Borobudur in Jakarta in Indonesia. And I'm probably butchering the how to say that, but that temple there is amazing too. Egypt, I've been to the pyramids in Egypt. They're just so cool. And so I like that's the stuff I like. When I travel, I try to go to either something that's historical, like anything dealing with World War II, or something way ancient, like these like the pots in Laos. Like there's an area in Laos where you got these pots, they have no idea why they were ever made. And it's just cool just to see something that was like done by humans way before our time,
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff interests me. Whatever interests me, I go and do it. People are like, "How'd you do so much in your life?" I said, "Because I was interested in it. I just went and did it." Like, they're like, "How?"
Awesome.
I said, you figure it out, man. I mean, ask somebody who knows something, and then you'll have a better chance of getting it done.
Here's something interesting. So Lourdes said, Ron says it's been online that after Roddy Piper died, Hulk Hogan received a voice message in Piper's voice without any inbound call logged, a message about crossing over.
Wow.
Gotta eat my vitamins, brother.
Yeah.
Don't pity a fool who eats my cereal.
Mr. T. Beautiful.
When I was reading your thing, you said you had, when you're younger, you had some paranormal experiences, or you had some stuff.
I mean,
if it's too scary to talk about,
no. My stepdad always joked about the Burns ghost in his house, and we all laughed it off because things would disappear. And he goes, "Well, I guess it's the Burns ghost again." But one time I'm watching TV in the living room and no one else is home. And the basement door opens and closes. And I'm thinking, oh, somebody came home. Nope. And I was like, that's it. I was on the couch and I was covered up. And I wasn't moving for nobody until the rest of the family came home. That was one of them. And then I was in the Philippines and there was a fort or something like that. And one of the Philippine nationalists who was like a revolutionary there was locked in this place. And I went down there and it was pitch black. So I take out my camera with a flash and I hit the flash so it would light up the place. And this face or something was like right at me. Oh man, I didn't go up some steps as fast as I did ever in my life. I was just like, I'm out of here, dude.
Philippines has a lot of history with that because remember during World War II, the Japanese owned it. Well, and America, all these different countries came in, and Spain, everybody. And then, of course, now there's the Japanese general. He hid all that gold there and everything. So it has so much history in that country, and there's a lot of spiritual stuff there.
Yeah, I like the Philippines, man. You got halal agokak sa akin papaluin kita. Go look it up and you'll see what I said.
Yeah, I don't. You think I'm going to be able to spell that? I can't even say it.
Just play it back. You'll go back and you'll just like listen to it and play it back. One of the absolute craziest paranormal kind of thing was with my dad, my real dad, up in New York, up in Newburgh, at my uncle's house, and I'm asleep on the couch. And my dad and my uncle went and did something, and my aunt is in the kitchen talking to somebody. And I look up, and this guy in a yellow raincoat, I guess it would be, but a fisherman's outfit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Is it the Burton's guy?
Is at the door, and he goes, "Shh." and then shuts the door. I'm like, don't shush me. I go to my aunt and I said, who is that guy? She goes, what guy? I told her. She goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. That freaked me out. I was like, wow, I don't know what that was all about. But yeah, I've had a few things, man, that I'm like, ooh, that was freaky deaky.
Wait, where did this happen?
That was at my uncle's house in Newburgh, which my uncle's still living there right now.
Newburgh has a lot of activity up there too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Newburgh had a lot of stuff during the Revolutionary War going up there. You had Washington's troops. They marched through there, and then they just threw tents all over, big areas all over Newburgh. And matter of fact, I think there's Washington had he was there for a little bit, and he had a command station there, a building that they have there. So it has a lot of stuff with the Revolutionary War, of course, with the American natives. They're going on there. There was some fights with them and everything. So yeah, Newburgh had a lot of activity. I used to go up there for an old barn. It was a 250-year-old barn, and we used to get some, man, unbelievable, because Washington's troops actually was on that land too. You know, because it was before the train started going up there. Everybody used to come up on boat, so it was like, you know, starting to settle a little bit. But when the train started going out there, everybody started going out and they're going to Newburgh to start settling. But it has a lot of history, and like I said, every time I go up there, we always get something. Always get something from spirits or whatever.
Was there like a port there though? Because if he was dressed like a fisherman, that would make sense if it was a port type city.
There was ports there that they used to come up. They used to come up from New York, and they used to take the rivers, and they used to come up, and they used to be ports all over that area, and they used to come in to Newburgh, and that whole area is all settled with, you know, because of the ships starting to come through. So maybe that's where your sailormen came in, because well, whalers. That's true. You said it was a yellow outfit.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the yellow hat and the yellow
Like
everything.
They used to be whalers. They used to come out of those ports and bring stuff in to those ports. And the whalers used to wear those outfits during rainstorms and everything like that too. So it's possible that you've seen one of the old whalers.
Now that you guys are mentioning some of this stuff, I'm like, you know, I don't remember exactly when I started seeing these things, right? But I remember, like, my grandmother, my great grandmother, I should say, was in the hospital, and I'm sitting there with her, and she's not doing good, and she couldn't remember anybody's name. She wasn't, you know, she was, you know, but then, like, the one day I was there, you know, these things hit me hard. I'm sorry, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. She sat up and said, "Don't close the door, Jesus, I'm coming," and then died right in front of me. And then ever since then, I think maybe I start seeing some of this stuff, you know, and it's like, I don't know how much is like, you know, I don't know, because I didn't, you know, I have nothing tangible to show you. I don't have pictures. I just have what I saw. And, but yeah, that was, I think that was one of the first things. And then I started seeing like a lot of stuff like happening, and things like flying by. That's like, what the hell is that? You know, it's like, you know, you don't want to like startle what's ever going on, because you don't know, you don't know what might happen. But at the same time, you want to know why is this happening? What's going on? And I hear people tell stories all the time, and I'm like, I'm skeptical when somebody tells me a story. And I'm sure people are like, yeah, right, Shadow, whatever. Like, I know my story. I kind of question somebody else's story when they're just trying to sound like they're just trying to be cool, you know. Then I'm a little bit, but when they're just talking just regular, not trying to outdo you, then their stories are like, wow, that's something I like to hear, you know, like, because I like the fact that somebody else is also experiencing. I'm not the only one going crazy.
You're not the only one.
That's why we got into this, because when I grew up, I did the same thing. All those years when I was a kid, I thought I was crazy, and then I started meeting people later on in life. You know, back in 2000 and stuff. I've been seeing stuff since I was a kid in the 60s. And that you come across people that have the same likeness as you, then you get to talk to them, and then you're like, oh shit, they had the same experience or they had similar experiences, and that's how you then you realize I wasn't crazy,
And
you
I
know.
was like 3 or 4, and I thought
Mm.
everyone saw the same stuff.
Yeah.
How old were
Other
you?
thing I just remembered when I was like 6 years old, I was laying on one of those mats in the pool, and I
Hmm.
fell in the pool and drowned. And like my cousin jumped in, or my uncle, I can't remember who, it's been so long, supposedly jumped in and rescued me, and he got me back out. I don't know. Some of those things may be of what sparked everything. I sometimes I think about it. Other times I go
So,
years without thinking about it. But now that we're talking about it, I'm like,
mhm.
damn, maybe that was something that sparked everything else that I see. Because I know
So,
people say, oh, if you cross over, uh, you know, you might get a residual of that into your life from the rest of your life, and there's no escaping it. And like I said, I've had a few things that I'm like, that was I don't know what to say about that. That was not something that you see every day, and I
Mhm.
don't know how to explain it. So
so if you die and you come back, if you have a near-death experience where you're almost at that point, um, the fact that you were with your grandmother and the door opened, you're kind of part of that situation.
mm,
Um, Meditation, if you have anesthesia and you go through a surgery, any of those things can kind of connect you to the other side. There's like a cord that connects you to from your head to the heavens and from your feet to the earth. If those cords get clipped at any point, you're kind of like floating around and you're connecting to the other side. So you've had those situations, all of them. And a lot of people who have been electrocuted, especially, they seem to be people who do have abilities. Everyone has abilities. It's just how strong they are. Everyone kind of has an empathic ability, and um, people have lucid dreaming, or they have, you know, more of an empathic thing, or they have deja vu, or they have a
I was
little
just
bit
about
of
to say that.
the
I
empathic.
I get deja vu all the time. I mean, like I'm like, okay, here's an example. My brother and I are driving in a car, and I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's
I hope
okay.
I didn't. We're driving in a car, and I start singing this song from Heavy D and the Boys. Now that we got love, what do and it's not on. I'm just singing it, and he turns on the radio, and that song is playing, and he goes, how did you know that? I said, I don't know. I just started singing the song. Then there was another song by Whitney Houston, and I'm singing the lyrics. And he goes, how are you able to do that? I go, why? He goes, this is the first time this song's playing. How do you know the lyrics? I
Yeah.
said, oh, you got to be kidding. I thought he was messing with me, right? But no,
Mhm.
he swears up and down. The other thing I've done, which was wild to me and still is I'll be watching TV like credits, and I'll be thinking of one of the credits that I see, and then the person sitting next to me will say what I was just thinking. And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's freaky, man. That's for me, that's cool. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's wild. Or
Mhm.
I'll be thinking something. Oh my God, I got so many stories right now. They're all coming back to my head. I'll be thinking about something, and um the person will answer what I'm thinking. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. How did you know what I was
It's
wanting to
awesome.
ask you?
Mhm.
That just blows my mind. The other one was I picked up the phone once and said, hey, Aunt Sue, how you doing? And she goes, how did you know it was me? And the phone didn't even ring. She was calling us, and for some reason I picked it up. I
Mhm.
mean, these are some of the things that I've gone through, and I'm like, I've always questioned it, like, hey, whatever, coincidence, whatever, But when I think more about it, I'm like, wow, that's some weird stuff that's happened, and I can't explain it. I just don't know how that happens. And it's like
You're
if
like
you ask me,
intuitive. You're intuitive
well, if
with
you
some of
ask,
this stuff. You opened up.
But if you
Yeah.
ask me to do it, yeah, come on, I don't think I can.
It
I don't
doesn't
think
work that way. It doesn't work that
people
way.
are like, like when people tell me they can see, they know they can read your future. I said, like, again, I'm very skeptical. I mean, I can't help myself. I mean, I guess that's the scientist in me. I don't believe everyone when they tell me something, because I know people say things because they want to be popular or whatever. So I kind of avoid telling people things because I don't want them thinking I'm that guy. I just live my life.
Those damn psychic mediums are all full of shit.
If I had one that could tell me some things that I've never told anybody, well, I'd shit my pants. Excuse me. You would change my skepticism very quickly, but I have yet to have anybody who says they can do that and then be able to tell me something that was very accurate, that wasn't on the internet, and they found that, like, come on, you saw that on the internet. Give me a break.
You'd be seeing 2 inches higher off your chair, huh?
I would love to actually for that to happen. I mean, I've seen people do, like, on videos, seeing people do that, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. How do they do that? Like, is that, it's like, is it strings or is it real? And I never know. I mean, I don't like to tell people they're wrong right away, but if you lie to me and then I'm supposed to believe you later, it's not going to happen.
There are some really good, talented people out there that could tell you stuff, and even stuff that they don't know or it's not out there. There are a lot of talented people. And then there's also the people that you're like, because I'm skeptic with a lot of stuff too, and I've been doing paranormal for 40 years, so I always question my own stuff too when I come across things, because it's too like did I really see that, or was that? And I try to always, like, is that a light? Is that a car driving by and it's shining, or a light coming in, or even, like, because I do a lot of videos. I got all the night vision cameras and all that stuff and everything. And I always, like, that's a glare off my lens, because it's up in the corner here, and it's like, that's a glare. And people like, oh no, that's orb, that's this, that's that. No, it's a glare. I always try to find a reason why it's happening, And if I can't, I go and I ask people around me, what do you see? What do you see? I don't tell them what I see. I just tell them, what do you see? Or is there anything here?
Let's see if anything matches.
Yeah. And then they say, well, this could be this, could be this. But I mean, I had one woman saying, oh, look, there's orbs in my room. And look at this picture of me and my friend, and they took a picture, and there's an orb in the corner and stuff. And I'm looking at it. When I took the flash, she had diamond earrings on. The flash of a diamond earring and gave her a lens flare. And I'm like, nah, come on. And then I get mad because I won't talk to you then, because I think they have something. It's like,
I remember this guy named Steve Fultz I used to hang out with when I was living in DC area, and we're driving down this really dark road from one part of one town to another, and there's nothing. I mean, it's like all farmland. And then all of a sudden, something comes over our car as I'm driving, and I didn't say anything for a second, but then I finally just pulled over and said, "Did you see what I just saw?" He goes, "Yeah, but I didn't want to say nothing unless you said something." We can't explain what it was, but man, that was a freaky thing.
Yeah.
Was it the Mothman?
No, it was more like we thought it was aliens or something. Like a spaceship
like
went
a
across.
ship or something. Yeah.
Something went over us, like a plane or something. I don't know what, but I mean, its light went over the car in the middle of no. I mean, it was pitch black except for the car lights. But then this light came over us, and like I said, I had to pull over and ask him, like, dude, you saw that, right? I remember
That's
Cambodia.
the MO.
I was in Cambodia, and I was in where they did the killings in the in the schools, and I have a picture that I took, and it looks like a ghost or something is levitating over one of the beds, and I was like, oh my God, so wild. And like I said, now you guys are hitting all these old memories of mine. I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of stuff in there that I forgot about.
Bringing it out. We're bringing it out.
You are. It's like I'm suppressed all this stuff, and you guys are really opening up a lot of stuff that I haven't talked about in years.
We're really good at this.
Yeah, you know what it is, because of all the years, like you're older too, so you remember like the 70s and 80s and stuff, where and even the 90s when nobody really talked about it. You talked about it, you looked at it like you're some kind of weird person and stuff, you know. When 2004 is really when it started becoming more of a thing with the TV shows and everything like that. So
more acceptable to
yes.
talk about it, right?
Yeah, you put it on a TV show, people watch it. Hey, it becomes acceptable. So that's now you could talk about these things and you could get that off your chest, all these different things. And we listen, so we're good at that.
I'm glad somebody's listening.
We do listen to that. But with all the places you've been to, all these different spots, I mean, I can imagine the stuff you experienced besides here in the States,
Well, that's the thing. I don't think you can just stay in one spot and really say you're living. I mean, for me, that's not me. I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you want to work at a gas station and you're super happy, I'm happy for you. But that's not me. I gotta travel. I mean, I've been to Russia. I've been to China. Like I said, I've been to a lot of the places where the World War II, like Hellfire Pass and the River Kwai, and just different places where a lot of history of the world at that time happened. I've been just really amazing places, and I just love doing it, and I love to be able to like share that experience with others who've never got to do that. Another crazy moment in my life was when I went to Russia, and I hadn't seen my real dad in years, like maybe 20 years.
Oh.
And I'm hanging out with this girl that I met online because she liked my radio station. She wanted to meet me. So I said, F it, I'm going to go to Russia, I guess. So I went to meet her, and we're just friends, but we just hung out, and we're hanging out at this cafe, and this guy walks in and he goes, Shadow, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, who are you? He's like, I'm your dad. I was like,
what?
This man, when I last saw him, he was 300 something pounds. He was only like 5'10". So he used to be huge. Now he was like 150 pounds, like literally half the man he used to be. And he just happened to be coming. He was living in the Ukraine, and he came to Russia on a sabbatical to do something. And he just came into this place to get coffee. She and I were just in that place just to like figure out what we wanted to do for that day. And this guy, he shows up, and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages, man. And I've had that
you go to Russia and you see your father?
Yeah, it's like I've had other things like that. Like I was in Laos, and I met this girl on my trips through it. And then we said goodbye after, I was going a different route than her. We end up in Thailand together in a small town that I've never thought about going to. And the person I was hanging out with there was going to go to the bathroom. So I said, oh, you go first and I'll just wait here. And this girl walks out of the bathroom, and it's the girl that I hung out with like 8 weeks ago in Laos. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing here? She's like, me? What are you doing here? Like, this is a small town. What brought you here? I said, I don't know. I just, was just traveling. Same thing happened to me in Japan. I meet this guy 2 weeks prior in Osaka or something like that. And then 2 weeks later, we end up on the same plane sitting next to each other going back to the United States. So there's a lot of,
That's a lot of huge synchronicities.
A lot of small world kind of things happen in such a big world,
Yeah, that's wild. Coincidence or something fate or
synchronicities.
Spiritual, that's wild and shit like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, when I have that happen, I'm like, it is interesting. It just blows my mind that some of that stuff has happened. I'm like, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it myself. I was like, oh, come on. I mean, like I said, I'm very skeptical if somebody told me this. I would be like, come on, man. But it happened to me, and I'm like, yo, I can't deny something I've seen visually myself. I know. I mean, I might not be able to put my finger on it, but I know it happened.
Did you ever have something happen where, like, you're watching a movie and a particular word that's not normal or a different phrase comes up, and then you get done with that movie, and then you're like going about your day, and that same phrase happens again, and then something else. It like keeps going, or the flow keeps happening, and it's going on for like 2 weeks or something. It just is like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, it's like I haven't heard, like, what's the word? Palpable doesn't get used a lot, but then it was used in Tron 2, I think, and then the word was being used everywhere. I like everyone was starting to use that. I get that a lot. I don't know if that's the same thing that you're talking about.
That's a synchronicity.
It's like, come on now.
What the hell?
Why am I hearing this word? Like, I know our phones listen to us, right? Because I just had a advertisement for something that I was joking about, and the damn phone gave me an advertisement. I'm like, I was joking, phone. Please don't give me an advertisement on that.
That is crazy. My wife and I were talking one time in the car, and my phone was just sitting on the dash, and all of a sudden, an advertisement came up of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that happens a lot now.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's interesting, But
I had something happen like that where I was doing something with my phone, and then it came up on my laptop.
Yeah, that happens a lot now, and I mean, I know, like, they have this thing where, like, the phone is listening to you, and it goes and grabs whatever you were talking about, whatever algorithm they do or whatever, and then plays it. But come on, man, like, don't take everything I say literal. I don't need to see those commercials. That's not what I expected. It's like, oh, I gotta watch what I say. I find myself sometimes, I think I'm funny. Okay,
you're funny.
I don't need the phone to be sarcastic with me. I don't need it mocking me. I don't need it like, oh, you thought you were funny. Well, how about this? And then do something that I'm like, no, I really didn't need to see that. Thanks a lot. Gotta watch myself, like, around kids. You gotta watch yourself around young kids because they pick up everything. Yeah, so does your phone, and then that's the last thing you need it to be telling somebody something that it's like you don't want it to get out that you're into that kind of thing when you're really not.
That'd be a good horror movie. Your phone listening to you.
Oh yeah.
And and some kind of electronics come and they kill you.
Well, they did that with Maximum Overdrive, right?
Yeah, with the cars and the trucks.
Yeah, I like that. I like Stephen King. We haven't brought him up. I mean, he's one of the big Christine and oh my God, so
Cujo.
I'm not a huge fan of movies that have been made by Stephen King, but I do like. But we mentioned The Shining, but people said it wasn't true to the book. But it still was a great.
I love the movie.
Maximum Overdrive. What's that?
Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary is the remake. I didn't like as much as the original.
No, the original was much better.
He did The Mist. Was that The Mist?
Now let me tell you something. That is one of the all-time favorite horror movies. Because
I can agree on that one.
Again, am I spoiling anything to anybody? But if you haven't,
they haven't seen The Mist by now. Come on.
Yeah, but go watch it. If you haven't seen it by now, go watch it because the ending blew my mind. That was the best ending. It was the worst ending, but it was the best ending. I mean, it's like watching Empire Strikes Back, and then at the end, the Empire wins. You weren't expecting that, and I like changes. I don't want the good guy to win all the time. I mean, Thanos is my all-time favorite bad guy because
Thanos.
I relate to him so much, and people are like, Shadow. I'm like, I'm sorry, I do. I mean, a friend of mine goes, "Oh, but did he have to kill everybody just to become a farmer?" I don't think so. And I said, "Or did he?" And then my friend was like, "Ooh," it's like I like the fact that he became a farmer after that, and it looked like he was in Bali, for God's sake, and just chilling, and like, he did what he had to do, and sometimes you have to become the evil to have the goodness in the end, or something like that. It's like, I don't know. That's just, it made sense to me that I didn't dislike the guy. I mean, I don't, if he killed me, I'd be mad, but I
disappeared. Yeah.
related to what he was doing.
Yeah, it's great if all good. But like Stephen King had a couple good movies. Like I said, I like the Clive Barker movies. I used to watch all the Clive Barker movies.
Same.
M.
Night Shyamalan.
Hellraisers?
Huh?
The Hellraisers? Was that Clive?
Yeah, Hellraisers. He had one out too. What was it? Called Nightbreed.
That's a good one.
That was a wild movie. It's you watch that and it's like, wow, and then they escape at the end, and I think there was supposed to be more movies after, because I actually collected a comic book series on Nightbreed.
Oh yeah.
And it ends up that they go against the Hellraiser people, and they have a little fight there. The whole series.
I didn't know that. I didn't. I collect comics, but I never collected that. I'm more of the old school Marvel. I love Spider-Man. That's like for the good guys. That's one of my best. When
Marvel, DC, I got a bunch of them going back into the '60s and stuff like that. Original Doctor Strange. I got him.
I'm not big on the Doctor Strange. The guy who's playing Doctor Strange. I know he's a good actor. I just don't. He's not the guy I would have casted for that. I don't know why, but it's just not. I'm not feeling him as the character, and I'm really getting tired of. I like Marvel films, okay, but there are films of Marvel that I am just like, why did I invest so much into this character if they're just going to become the bad guy, or they're going to die? I don't like it that they went through the whole film, they survived, everybody's cheering, yay, and then the next film they die. It's like, well, fuck, dude, come on now. I'm sorry, I can swear like a sailor sometimes, so I apologize.
They all turn into powder.
We're all the same.
They fade away.
Nothing. When Spider-Man died like that, I was like a little baby crying. Spider-Man died. I mean, he really that kid can act. I mean, he really made me believe Spider-Man passed away. He's like, and he didn't want to go. And then Tony Stark was like, kid, and it's like, that. And then the recent Spider-Man where Aunt May died. Oh my God, it's like, dude, pull on my heartstrings, man. I'm not gonna be able to handle this stuff, man. I'm gonna have to turn. This is almost worse than watching a horror movie. I'm like, no, I don't want to see it.
My best cartoon character, I always liked Ghost Rider, the guy in the motorcycle. That was my favorite, and still is my favorite.
That could not stand who they casted for it. I just said, no, not him. Let's pick somebody else.
I know.
I hear Ghost Rider's coming back, though.
Is it coming back? Great.
They said they're going to bring it back, and I think they might be using the same guy too. So I don't know. I don't want to mention names. I try not to as much as possible, but I'm not.
You never know. You might be working with them one day, and it's like, okay.
And I'll be like, okay, get me off this film. I mean, there's certain people I just don't want to work with. They could be the nicest people in the world, maybe. I don't know, and maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot and being a snob or whatever. But there's some people. It's like I've heard too many stories and too many consistent stories from people that I trust that make me go, nah, it's okay. I can pass on that one. But I'll tell you people I like anytime you want. Anytime you want to know who I like that I work with, I'll give you them. And some of you might be surprised, like, really, that person? I'm like, yeah, that person was absolutely cool to hang out with and so much fun to be part of the project that I worked on with them, that I would work with them again, even sometimes for free. Sometimes it's like if I have
that about a
bills to pay, no.
Free? I don't know.
Yeah,
Nothing's free.
I mean, I've done free film. Like when it's a passion project of mine. Like I did The Life, and that was about the sexual trade, the sex trade that goes on in New York City. I did that because I support fighting against that. The thing about Flying Eggs I did was about kids with Down syndrome and other disabilities being in the process of foster parents, and how they're locked up in a home, chained to a bed, and the people who are supposed to be watching them are out double dipping by working a regular job. These are personal things to me that make me do those projects for free. I say, I mean, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I should have taken some money, but it was more important that film got made than how much I could have made from doing the film. So, call me dumb. I don't care. That's how I live.
I have an autistic son, so anything to do with any kind of children with any kind of disabilities or handicaps, I'm all for.
I have two kids with autism, and my third child, he has these things where he wakes up out of nowhere and starts pointing up at the ceiling and is freaking out, and I was like, what are you seeing, man? I feel
no
bad.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, he can't express himself, especially when, and then later he's like, Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember doing that. I was like, you woke up and you were wide awake and you were pointing at something in the ceiling and you were petrified, man. And but
does he ever wake up screaming?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He woke me out of dead sleep, and I'm like a papa bear. I mean, I'll protect my kids like I'm no mama bear's ever tried.
Sure.
I mean, I love being a dad. That's one of the best things that ever happened to me, bar none. I don't care. There's many things that I've done that were cool or whatever, but man, I love being a dad. That's
my favorite thing.
Does he ever talk about like strange things that may sound like they weren't in this lifetime?
He draws stuff like that. I mean,
it's a past life.
Yeah, that's what my my ex-wife says to me. Oh, he's an old soul, and he's been here before, and I'm like, but it's scary for him, It's like because he is, he's screaming. It's like as a parent, you don't want to see your kid in pain or anything like that.
And I mean, having an autistic son, it's a little hard for them to express themselves too.
Yeah.
And to tell for them, even if they have a dream, they won't be able to express themselves like the way we would be able to. And my son is 30 years old, my oldest son.
Wow.
He's 30, so I went through it for a long time. And he's much better. As they get older, they start maturing and start, gets a little better. But for him to express himself or something, it's a little hard for an autistic child to. My other two sons, I mean, one's a plumber, one's does the market, but he went through a lot with him and stuff. So it's a hard process, and like I said, they cannot express themselves, and for them to express themselves is very hard for that to do. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, my 15-year-old and my 10-year-old, both, one's a boy, one's a girl. I got them into martial arts, and I got them into playing instruments.
That's
and awesome. It doesn't stop what they go through, but it does make it easier, especially with expression. They have become able to express themselves more. And I got people who tell me, those two kids have autism? I go, yeah. They're like, dude, I would never know. And I said, that's because a lot of work, but it's so rewarding when you can get through to your child who you couldn't get through. Like my daughter would not hug me, any emotion for years. And now I can't stop her from hugging me and being, very loving as a daughter, it can be. And like I said, I mean, that was a lot of work, but it broke my heart when she didn't want to even talk to me or hug me or anything. It's like, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to express what I'm going through with that, but yeah, that was.
I understand. Because I went through it, and you still go through it. I mean, hugging and everything. It's another. It's her. Another mark. It's like she is growing out, not growing out of it, but for her to touch you and stuff like that. Because most autistic kids, they can't even look at you in the eye.
Right.
So if you're working with them, like I did with my son hugs me now. He hugs me. And him and I have different relationship than I have with my other two sons. He loves to draw. He does play drums, but then he also has that sound. That, he covers his ears with certain sounds and everything like that. And he still does this with his hands.
Yep.
And at 30 years old, you go to a place and he's sitting in a place. He's going like this. People had the tendency to stare or whatever.
Right.
You just learn to ignore it after a while because it's not you. It's them. They got the problem, not you. Well,
I always say to my daughter when she starts to do the hand thing and what have you, I go, Ozzy, because her name's Osmara. And it sounds like I'm saying Ozzy, like Ozzy Osbourne. She'll look at me and go, what are you supposed to do? And she'll calm down. I mean, it's like, it's, like I said, it took a lot of work to get that. But now, like the eye contact thing, most of the time she doesn't. But when I get her attention, I get it, and then she looks right at my eyes and say, what are we supposed to do? Settle down. That's what she says. Hey, settle down, Daddy. I said, okay, and it's funny because she knows exactly what I'm going to say to her now before I just say, Ozzy, settle down, Daddy.
That's cute that she knows.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and just stay with it. It does work. It does help. I mean, a lot of kids that on the spectrum, they don't have nobody that really pays it. That actually gives them that much attention in their face. You have to be in their face half the time, and because sometimes when they do this, it's stimulating them. It's not like because imagine you want to get something instead of say it. You want to say something and you want to be part of something, but you just can't because you're not verbalizing it right. Or so what happens? You get you get mad, you get nervous, you get stimulated. So they make all these things to stimulate them to bring them down too. So that's why all the stimulation and all that, that motion and covering ears and everything else, and like you just work, just keep it going, just work on it.
Well, when I was a teacher, I taught autistic kids, and I taught them. Right. So when I first saw my eldest, he was giving signs of that. I caught it early, and it's like, man, if I didn't teach autistic kids, I never would have known what was going on. And because I caught it early is when I started, doing all these other things that I've been doing with him. And then my daughter, I caught it even sooner with her. And it was like, wow, man. I mean, and I like working with autistic kids has been one of the greatest things of my teaching career as well. When I was a teacher, I just enjoyed it so much because they were just so interesting to work with and talk to, and other people didn't want to deal with them. And I'm like, sign me up. I'm all with it. Let's do this. I mean, like I said, it's challenging, but I was ready for the challenge, man.
Yeah. And autistic kids, I mean, they're the happiest kids in the world. They always seem to be happy. They always my brother's like, because my son, of course, his name is Anthony, Italian, and the first son. And my brother's like, my brother's like, he was having a bad day, and my son's there having a good time. He goes, maybe sometimes it's better to be like him because they're always happy, and here we are always stressing something out, and they're always happy. So, they're the happiest kids in the world. I wouldn't say
always, but yeah, definitely
they got their times.
Some of the happiest kids at the same time. Like when people talk to me about being around my kids, that's one of the things. Oh my God, that was another thing. My second child was being born, and I was with my first child, and I was taking him home because they wouldn't let us stay at the hospital before my wife gave birth to the second child. So we're leaving, and we get on the elevator. Damn, man, I can't help it. My emotions are. This lady here's my son laugh. My eldest boy, at the time he was like 4 or 5, something like that. And she goes to me and goes, I was having such a bad day. I don't know what I was going to do with myself tonight. But after hearing your kids' laughter, I'm not thinking about that anymore. And I'm like, damn, dude. Just some of the things that happen. It's like you said, it's like, I mean, it's just coincidence. I don't care. It's the fact that it happened, and it's like maybe it saves somebody's life. I mean, we can't save everyone, right? But just one person who was thinking something bad for themselves, and that changed their mind, and you just happened to be there because of an incident that you were going through, and it put you, and it changes me when I have a bad day, man. Because sometimes I have bad days. I mean, I'm not perfect, but those moments make me reflect and go, it was bad, but it wasn't that fucking bad, you know? It's like I can push on. And that's again why I do the acting, is because I know that sometimes somebody saw something I did and it made their life feel better. And they didn't think that negative thought anymore. It got them out of that funk.
Awesome.
And that's the kind of stuff I like
doing. And then there's like a trickle down effect too.
Yeah, like passing it forward, right?
Yeah.
We get what, 10 minutes left, 8 minutes left in the show?
Yeah, and we have to be on time because Bobby has.
Is there anything you want to promote?
Realize the time, man.
I know. You're having a great time. Is there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to say? So for the guest, for the audience.
I mean, I got some websites that I worked on that I've created. I got shadowmorning.com, which if you have anybody who's passed and you want to make a memorial for them, you can go on that site and make a memorial.
Mouring?
Huh?
Mouring?
Yes, Mouring, shadowmorning.com. If there's famous people, you can make up a page for them and just share videos and pictures of whoever it is. And then people can just talk about it, online. I keep it positive. I don't want negative stuff about somebody. The dead can't defend themselves, so don't come in there bashing people. But it's supposed to be a positive thing, especially since COVID. A lot of us can't go to people's funerals or their grave sites, and it's a way of being able to, mourn without having to go directly to the place now. And especially famous people have passed and people have stories to tell. You can do it there. I have a clothing line, shadowwearfashion.com. That is, I make suits. I met my second wife in fashion, and she does her own thing with wedding dresses and evening wear, and I do my thing. And then, I do movies, and like I said, I've been producing indie films, and now we're trying to get into Hollywood style films, even though they're indie films, but to make them a step above. And that would be Shadow Films for those who want to see any of the films that I've done. Hopefully it's just me, because I know that name has gone around and other people are using it. But excuse me, if you can find that, we did, like, you look at my IMDb, you can see a lot of stuff that I've been working on. Anything else? Anybody? Any questions? I mean, before we got to go.
Anyone?
No.
It's okay. I mean, my feelings aren't hurt.
No,
we did a lot of topics today.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Wore you down. I would love to talk to you off screen if you don't mind. I friended you.
Okay, thank you. And no problem. We also do a travel app called Trava, TRAVA on Google Play. It's in right now, and it should be on Apple soon. And basically, it tells you the ins and outs of wherever you're traveling, what you should do and what you can avoid. But it would, like, if you wanted to go to like a mall in Thailand, like one of the temples in Thailand, it'll tell you how to like what tuk-tuk or what taxi cab or what bus you should take to get there. It's similar to Google Maps, but it's a little more detailed, and it gives, like, if you type in halal, it'll tell you all the halal restaurants in the area that you can go to. And it gives ratings and stuff of all the places that are there. So it's a nice little app, and it's worldwide. It's moving. It's progressing. It started in Thailand, and then it's going to go to Indonesia, and then as more people use it, it's going to build more of a database.
That's really awesome. I love that idea.
Awesome.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. We loved having you.
I enjoyed this immensely. Thank you, guys. You really brought out a lot of stuff that I forgot about.
That's awesome. What we like to do. We like to terrify you and make you cry when you're with us.
I had a couple tears come out, man. I mean, you guys really started pulling those out of me.
Well, we're sorry that we did that, but we love.
Don't be sorry. You. I like having my emotions. I like being a human being. I know I'm not a robot.
Yeah. So we got to say the other show is going to start in a couple of minutes. We got a show after that. That's why we have to go.
No. I mean, if you ever want me back, I'd be glad to come back. Yeah. I don't want to go too soon.
Don't leave yet. After the show's over, we could talk some more.
Absolutely. I'll be right here.
Okay. Say good night.
Well,
everyone, thank you for listening.
This was Dimensions of the Supernatural. I'm Maureen Grudzinski, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Anthony Simonelli, otherwise known as...
Forget about it. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. We'll join you again next week, same time, same place.